Hello Blue Lions, this is Bishop Wraith. I am going to do a tutorial on how to make a new post and use the toolbar area, otherwise known as the kitchen sink. It lets you edit your text, colors, add images, stuff like that. So the first thing we do is we go to a forums. This is a little test form I set up for admins, but you can do this on any one of the forums that you have access to. We hit create new topic. First thing you do is give it a topic, so this is a new topic. Then we get down here. You have two tabs. Text is going to give you raw text. That's your HTML code and stuff. 99% of you out there don't want to use that. Once you switch over to visual, every time you open a new post, it will give you visual. If you sign on to make a new post and you only see one row of things here, this button here, third one from the right now, it says toggle toolbar. It's got one row and then it shows two. That's what it does. It drops down and gives you the rest of the tools. So let's say this is a sentence in Georgia font. This is a sentence in Arial font. I'm going to highlight that, go to this, change the font. Let's grab Arial here and go to the next line. We can play with some things, make it bold, make it underlined or italicized, make it underlined, and make it strike through. Strike through is, if you want to cross through something, like cross off a list, etc., etc. The next thing is subscript. This is normal. I hit subscript. This is not. Pretty straightforward. You click it again to get rid of it. And this is normal. Superscript. This is not. So that lets you do numbers down below, numbers up above, whatever you want them to be. Bulleted list creates a bullet list. If you hit it and type and hit it again, you can start with text or you can start blank. If you hit it and then hit enter once, you get another line, type some more stuff, hit enter again, you get more. If you have it blank and you hit enter again, it goes away. Number lists are the same thing, except they're numbers. Automatically goes down to the next number. Block quote, you're not going to be able to see the effects of this until we're done printing it, but basically what it does is it sets the text slightly off to the side. It's indented and it has a blue vertical line next to it to denote that it's a quote. So we'll just play with that. This is a block quote, and we won't know what it does till later, but I'm then going to hit enter and get rid of the block quote. There we go. You can line things up on the left, you can make them centered, you can line them up on the right, or justified spreads them out to fill the width of the area they're in with extra spacing between words, like you would see in a newspaper with all the different columns. This is a link. So I'm going to highlight that and click link. Now it's going to give me an option to copy a link. So I'm going to copy a link in there, put it in here, and hit the apply button or the enter button to create a link out of it. Once I click away from it onto another line, I won't see anything. If I click back on it, it brings it back up. I can remove the link. I can highlight it again and add a link back in. I can even do link options. Link options will let me change the text, change the link, tell it to open in a new tab. You do that if you were sending them to another website, but you wanted to leave the Blue Lions website tab open so they could save their spot and come back to it. So that's what that checkbox does. You can link to existing content, which is kind of cool. I can go find a post, and I can click on that post title. These are replies. These topics are the top level. Replies are replies of the topics. If I click on it, it's going to replace that link. That's pretty cool. You hit update, it updates the link. I can also unlink it right here, or I can do advanced. Advanced you're not going to use too often, but it's the same thing. You can put in a link here, you can change the title of it. If you know CSS, you can play with CSS here, and you can change how it targets. Really all you're going to use on here is target self loads the link in the same window you're currently in. Target blank opens a new tab. That's really all there is to that. So insert media versus insert image. Insert media is going to be loading up videos. So it's going to load up a video player, and you can change the dimensions. And so let's just do that. YouTube. Reveal some of the stuff I've watched. Go down to, let's just pick something. My mouse is all over the place. There we go. Good old cranberries. Drop that in as a source. It knows what it is. It changes the constraints. Let's change that. Goodbye. I'll empty that stuff out. Let's look for a video. So somewhere in here I've probably got a video. There we go, videos. The last BFR. Boom. I don't actually want to do that. That's uploading the last BFR. That is a huge video. But basically, if you had a video file you wanted to upload directly into it, it would save that video file up to a certain size. There are limitations. I don't know that exact number now, but if it becomes an issue, we will address it. It's going to upload that and create a link for it and automatically drop it into your forums post. This one is a read more tag. Basically what this is if you have an exceptionally long post, you can write an intro and then the rest of the post, and in the middle of that, if you hit read more, it creates this more line, and basically says, you know, here's the intro to it. If you want to continue to scroll down, scroll down. Going on beyond that, my mouse really doesn't like scrolling with this software on. Let's try this. Okay, there we go. This is, again, your toolbar toggle. It just moves stuff around. It gets rid of this bottom line, etc. Insert WP user avatar. This is going to let you, once it loads, I'm going to go find a user like Das Alte. He's going to be in this list as bracket OL. There he is. Choose a size. We're going to go thumbnail, alignment, left, and I don't want a link, so I'm going to say no link. Insert into post. That creates this tag here, avatar user. So when we save this, it's actually going to bring up Das's, whatever his avatar is, it's going to bring it up and put it into the post. I mean, that's kind of cool if you want to list, you want to say so-and-so is doing this, put their picture, and then drop it down some stuff about what they're doing. Awesome. You know, it's something you can play with. Let's get down to these. This is your type of formatting. Headers, pre-formatted paragraph. So paragraph is your normal text. Header 1 is going to give you big text. This is a header. Nice thing about headers is they take up a single line. If you want to do a multi-line header, so if I hit enter, it'll automatically default back to paragraph. But let's say I wanted a header that did 2 lines. Second line of the header. What I did was I held down shift and then hit enter by hitting shift plus enter. And that gave me a second line. Now if I hit enter without a shift, it goes back to paragraph. So now I can type normally. Let's look at this. If I wanted to change the background color of this, that's that one, and it's, you know, it's a highlight, and so now that's got that. If I wanted to change the font color, let's make that neon green, I do that. When I click away from it, now I've got orange background, neon green font. I could do part of a word like that. There we go. Another thing you do, you can always double click to get a single word. Triple click will give you the entire line. So single will put you in between things. Double click selects a word. Triple click selects the entire line. I want this entire line to be red. There we go. Paste as text. That is if you have something in your clipboard. So let's say you're copying from another document or another web page. That's going to pull in a lot of formatting. The font color. It's going to pull, like if it's from a web page, it might pull in information like actual website code with it. So what this button does is whatever's in your clipboard, all that formatting and everything, instead it just pastes it as text. So let's play with that. Paste as text. I'm going to click that again. Oh, the warning doesn't go up anymore. Anyway, with that on, it pastes whatever you're putting in there as text. With it off, I believe that's going to paste all the formatting, images, everything you've got in there. Clear formatting. I grab this. I hit clear formatting. That gets rid of all that markup code I just did. So it's still a header, but I got rid of it being red. So let's try making it red. And try making it italics again. Now let's clear the formatting. There we go. Non-breaking space. This is how I add spaces with code rather than the space bar. If I look at the text, that just has a span. But that's how you tell it, yes, I want more than one space. You'll run into times where, depending on the type of format you're using, it won't let you do that. I drop down to the next line. And let's look at this, special characters. This is going to let you bring up a list of special characters like a trademark. So what I want to do is, let's say Das Alte Soldat. That's the outfit leader. And we're going to trademark Das. So I just go up here and hit trademark. Boom. Now I've got that. Let's say he's also copyrighted. Yay, there's special characters. Pretty straightforward. Insert equation. I'm going to say, this is like something you might have used in your math class. I don't know if anybody'd ever use this, but let's have fun. We'll use some Greek letters here and stuff. We'll hit that button. We'll say plus. Is there a zeta or anything? Let's just click that button and hit OK. That is going to create some sort of image when we post. That's it. I was like, oh, that didn't seem to do anything. Well, because it's kind of special. It's going to go do some programming stuff for us. So we don't see anything here currently. What I do know I want to do is go down here and hit a space. And that. All right. That's going to give me an extra space. Maybe. Pretend I did not put this into it because we're never going to use programmed or functions anyway. Over here, you can increase or decrease your indent. So I can sit here and move my thing forward. You know, if I wanted to put a gap at the beginning of a paragraph and stuff like that. So you can move it back and forth. This is just your Control Z and Control Y. So if I wanted to undo what I just did, let's hit undo again. It's memorizing everything I've done in the past. I can just keep hitting undo. There we go. Now it inserted that equation. And I can redo things. Delete it. Oh, look at all that stuff I'm doing. So if you hover over that, it gives you the shortcuts. Control Z is always undo. Control Y is always redo. So you can step back and forth through the steps you already did very quickly once you get used to using that. Drop down a line. His horizontal line is just a line across your screen. Boom. It's a good way to organize and separate sections. This is the new feature you're probably not used to seeing. You can actually insert a table and choose how big you want the table to be. I'm going to do a 4x4. Click. This may look confusing now, but what I can do is, that's all highlighted. This is going to be a difficult part, but I'm going to show you how to use a table and how to read it. There we go. Now I can click on an empty part of it, which I got lucky on that time. Yeah, there we go. So you might have to click around a little bit. It keeps trying to highlight everything because it's such a small area, and it might also be a plugin I've got on my Chrome browser that's trying to highlight stuff. But you get into one of these cells, and we'll just say Traven. Now I've got 4 rows in this column, and if I hit left arrow, it'll jump me into the next one, and we'll say max, and this will start making a lot more sense. Right arrow, down, bishop. So now I can actually create a chart of information, and I can even put images in here. So like we'll go over here and hit image, upload something from the website. Let's go up to Blue Lions, go to art. There's my bishop portrait. We'll drop that in there. It's going to upload it to the website. Once I see the link, it's good. Hit OK. There we go. And so that lets you do a lot of organizational stuff that we weren't able to do on the previous set of forms. Being able to create tables is pretty powerful. If you know anything about code, you can drop over here and actually take a look at the code. When you're going to put a table onto a website, this is what you have to type up. So this is the row, this is the individual element, you know, that box, and then here's what we have in the box. I did not click and drag. That'll do weird things, but let's highlight right there and click and drag. So that's the link to the image. Down here I've got Max's name, Bishop's name, and so on. If I go back to visual, here we go. So I'm going to drop down to the next line, and let's go over this next one. Column shortcodes. This is pretty slick. So this is this uses what's called a shortcode. It's a shortcut to programming. I want 3 columns. And the column sizes, let's just do 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So that should be 1/3 of the page, 1/3 of the page, 1/3 of the page. That's within your post. Or I can say that I want 1/2, 1/4, 1/4. So this lets you create new columns of content. Let's say if you want to make a post that read like a newspaper or a newsletter or something. The first thing says, I want 3 columns. Now this lets me decide the size of those columns. So 1/3, 1/3 is evenly spread across the page. 1/4, 1/4, 1/2. A quarter of the page, a quarter of the page, and then half of the page. I'm just going to choose 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. There's a preview of what it looks like. Let's play around with it. Quarter, half, quarter. You know, 1/6, 1/6, 2/3. Tiny, tiny, big, so on and so on. Insert that in. So that looks kind of weird, but we're used, like when you get used to that with shortcodes, it shows this shortcode in brackets. It's very similar to BB code in the old one, but this is where we want the content. So hey, this is some content. And then you just find this area and type in your stuff. And then when this post, when you edit the post, not when you edit the post, when you submit the post, it's going to automatically space all of that out for you. And that's my mouse wheel going crazy because the software likes to play with it while I'm recording. But you know, you'll put your stuff in here, and then it will automatically format it into however you told it to keep those columns. So we'll move down. Now that one you might have to play with a little bit. No big deal. Over here we have our emoticons. This will give you smiley faces. As we do more stuff in the future on this, I'll have some military ones in here. It looks like we did an update and it already erased the code that I did for the military ones. But not a big deal. I'll be doing an edit to this to add in our military smileys, but for now here are some shortcuts. And then these are keyboard shortcuts. Keyboard shortcuts are going to give you some ideas of how to do things more quickly than going up here and finding the buttons. So if I want to underline the text I'm looking at, you know, I would highlight it, and then this is Control U underlines it, Control I would italicize it, so on and so on. Here's your cut and paste. X cuts it, like literally deletes it from where it's currently at, holds it into virtual space. Control V would paste it back into wherever you want. And Control Z undoes, Control C copies, Control A does select all, and so on. And so, you know, let's play with this. Control A, now everything's highlighted. Let's not do that. Let's grab this and say, I don't like where that's at. I'm going to hit Control X, it cuts it out, and over here I'll drop it in, Control V, paste it down. I can hit Control Z to say, nah, I don't like that. Control Z again, I never meant to do that. I actually just wanted to copy it. So now it's still there, but I hit Control C, Control V, paste it. So that, you know, that's just keyboard shortcuts. It's not something you're used to. Get used to it. It'll save you a lot of time. Shift Alt plus letter lets you do some more advanced stuff. So that's actually holding down Shift and holding down Alt and then hitting one of these keys will do this various stuff that's in that list. So this is if you're going to be writing a lot, writing a large post, you want to learn the shortcuts, that's going to help you out a lot. But that covers this toolbar in Kitchen Sink. And again, I just want to reference the fact that we are on the Visual tab. That's WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. If you hit over to Tab, it looks very different. We're looking at all the HTML, the code that you use to write websites. This lets you see it. If you know how to use HTML, you can go in here and do some really fine tuning. There's a lot of advanced stuff you can do with CSS, which is cascading style sheets that interacts with HTML. You can type all that into here, and then when you publish it, it'll let you fine tune it. You can always switch back to Visual and see how it's most likely going to look. It's not exact because some of it can only be produced when you actually post the post. Let's go down to topic tags. Topic tags is a way to say, you know, this is a tutorial and it's about forums and topics and WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. There we go. WYSIWYG. It's just a way to like organize and identify things. This allows us to create a topic cluster, so you'd see a bunch of words over here, and the bigger the word, the more often it's been used. If you click on a word, it will give you a list of all the posts that match that keyword. So, you know, we're not really using a topic cloud right now, but or a tag cloud, but you've seen it on other websites we may implement in the future. Not a bad thing to kind of put some keywords. Kind of think of this like a hashtag, you know, on Twitter or Facebook. For a normal user, you're probably only going to be able to do normal, but if you are an admin or moderator, sticky means it's going to make that post stick to the top of the forum, so the post stays there, and it doesn't get pushed down by newer posts. Super sticky, don't use this unless you're the outfit leader, or if you're Bishop Wren, one of the other admins. Super sticky makes it the top post in every single forum. So that's like a global. That's like we want to make sure everyone sees this. So it doesn't matter where you click on the forums, you're gonna see the post. So we don't use that. That's pretty much if DOS wanted to write a really long post and make sure everybody saw it, he could do so. Topic status, again, you're probably not gonna be able to do much with this, but topic status is how you want it to be posted. Open means that people can reply. Closed means only admins can reply. Spam, you would never write a post and mark it as spam, but if you're going to edit an existing post, you could edit it and then change this to spam. Trash is interesting. The way WordPress works is when you delete something, it goes into a trash bin and it stays there until an admin empties the trash bin. That way we can recover things if it was accidentally deleted. And then pending means, hey, here's this post, but we're not going to show it to normal people until a moderator or admin approves the post. And that might be something you want to do. You might post it with pending, and in that you might say, this post is set to pending. I want to make sure a moderator thinks it's okay for this to be posted. Again, 99% of the time, you're just going to leave this to open. This is a really cool one. I can tell it to notify me of follow-up replies via email. So if I make a post and I'm going to be at work or out on the road and I'm not sure, you know, when I'm going to get to look at the forums again, this will let me know that somebody replied to it in my email box. This next bit, you have to do this every single time you make a post, reply to a post, edit your post, whatever. This keeps out the robots. Click on there saying I'm not a robot. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Now it knows you're not a robot. There's the green check mark. I can attach images or files. This is different than inserting them into the post up here, like here. This will actually show them as a, you know, just a text link to attachments. So you can put a bunch of PDFs or whatever you want in there, and it'll show up at the bottom just like if you were attaching things to an email. And then the last one is I can create a poll questions, description. You can list responses and add additional responses. Gives some options on how to play with them. I'm not going to go too deep into polls. I'm going to probably create a new video for it, but I'm going to uncheck that because I don't want to poll for this post. And let's hit submit. I've got the green check mark. I hit submit. Here's our post. This is kind of interesting. So this is where you want to play around with formatting a little bit when you're playing around with. That's where I dropped in the avatar user. This is a header. So if I tell some of these that they're left justified, specifically tell them they're left justified, like if you left justify an image, then it pushes off to, it does what's called a float left, and your text will show up on the right of it. If you don't give it a justification at all, if you just leave it open, then it'll want it on its own line, and the text will actually drop down to the next line. So that's something to keep in mind. Here's my table. You notice the default table shows you the outside box and the rows, but it doesn't show you lines for the columns. That's where, when you're playing with it and it has the options for like IDs and styles and stuff, when you go into edit it, you can actually write your own CSS code. 99% of the time you guys aren't going to touch that, but if you know what you're doing, you can play with it. Otherwise, it's just a good way to organize everything into rows and columns. And then here's how I was showing you that short codes for columns. 1/3 of my post takes this area, another third, and the last third. And that's pretty much it. I'll go over this real quick. If you are an admin or a moderator, here are some moderation tools. This allows you to edit your post, close the post so people can't comment on it, sticky it, and then stick to front. So these are two separate links. Stick makes it sticky, and it will go at the top of, or it'll go at the bottom of current sticky post. If you click to front, it will move it all the way to the top, so it's the first sticky post that people see. Merge is a unique one. It's actually going to let you grab another post within that forum, and it's going to merge them into one post. Be careful with that. And of course, you're only going to be able to do that if you're an admin or a moderator, but there it is. This is trash. It just moved it into trash. It's temporarily in trash. Admins can still see it. We can restore it or delete it. Deleting it gets rid of it permanently. Restoring it's going to bring it back to life. I can mark it as spam. That's going to report it and take it away from everybody else. I can reply to it. That's the same thing as going down here and replying. I can unapprove it. What that's going to do is temporarily pull it away from it so nobody can see it, but a moderator can come in and then click approve. Report will send a message to the admin saying, hey, I don't think this is cool. And then quote will let you quote this post in a reply. That's kind of cool too. The last thing is you can favorite a post or favorite forums, and you'll get the notifications. Let's see, favorited. So you can actually go look at a list of your favorites. I'm going to undo that because I don't want that. Subscribe is a way to say, I want email notification anytime somebody replies to this post. That's kind of just like the same as before where we clicked on notify me of follow-up replies. But you can actually do that by going into this entire forum area and subscribe to the forums. So like, let's go all the way back to forums here. I can go into the Blue Lions general discussion and click the subscribe button, and now I'm going to get an email anytime anybody makes a post or a reply in this entire forums, all of the Blue Lions general discussion. I'm going to unsubscribe from that. I like to reserve that for like my officer meetings stuff, so like the Council of Generals forums I'm subscribed to, stuff like that. Anyway, that's my just under 30-minute tutorial on how to use the forums. I hope this was helpful, and this Bishop Wraith signing out.